out for Sydney, in Sydney, for people with disabilities. It's the first of its kind. It's never been done before, and what a good idea it is. I welcome into the program here the founder, Jonathan Hopkirk. G'day, Jonathan.
Hey, thanks for having us.
You are very welcome indeed. And DJ for the events, Timothy Brooks. G'day, Tim.
Good morning, Wendy.
Nice to have you here too. Alrighty, well, Jonathan, tell me about this event. How did you come up with this idea?
Look, so I grew up in New Zealand and have a sister with Down syndrome, and one of the things my family and I always recognised was that it was tough for her not to have the social inclusion that I guess myself and my brothers did around a similar age. And having grown up doing a bit of DJing myself, when we took Rosa along, she would always love it and tend to steal the show. So the idea was to try and give herself and then other people in the community an opportunity that was like that, where they could enjoy themselves in a club environment, and just do all the things that we like to do, but in a place which is, I guess, a bit more of a safe house because of obviously some of the hostility and intoxication you can find in some bars. It would be nice to have a venue that was set out specifically for them, and then you can cater to specific needs like hypersensitivities and people that are seizure prone and stuff like that. We have the lights, at a certain in a certain way, and we have earmuffs and stuff like that, people that have hypersensitivities, to make sure that everyone's catered to, but also just an environment where like-minded people can enjoy themselves.
Well, you've hit on a lot of interesting points there, where perhaps the experience for someone with an intellectual disability when they go along to a gig, it's an unpleasant one. So you were talking there about lighting, for instance.
Yeah, look, so I mean, these were things that when I started out, I mean, I only had, I used to work with kids with intellectual disabilities, so I had a fair understanding, but when it came to the idea of a disco or a club night, these were things I hadn't even really considered in the start, and then luckily enough I had people that were contacting me and saying, what's the lighting arrangement going to be and stuff like that. So I've been lucky that it's evolved as we've sort of gone along with the planning, because I guess, I think it's about 5% of people that have epilepsy are seizure prone because of lighting and flashing lights, so these experience of going out clubbing would not be open to them. And this idea also that you're talking about and relating to your sister here about intoxication and perhaps unwanted advances. Was there anything in particular that your sister experienced? No, not in particular. I think, if anything, probably me and my brother's been a bit too rowdy for her. She's the one that tends to pull us into line, and I think more often than not it's us trying to get to her level. And so when you take alcohol out of the equation, you've got a whole group of people that just like to enjoy themselves at baseline. So alcohol's not even a factor, but I think if you have a whole group of people there that I guess, we're probably feeling a little bit vulnerable in a place where people are not the best versions of themselves always, it's nice to be able to take that out of the equation and have them in a situation where they don't have to worry about that.
And DJing on the night will be Timothy Brooks. G'day, Timothy.
Good morning, Wendy.
You reckon this is a good idea?
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. And what's your experience been in clubs? Have you noticed that people with disability have a tough time of it?
Well, I've always found myself quite put off by going into clubs. Like, I've seen all the stuff and it's made me quite apprehensive about going out clubbing.
And tell us about your disability.
I have Asperger's syndrome. I've had it, I think I was diagnosed around about 3 or 4, and it was so tough growing up, being like having it, because I was so different from the other kids.
And what would happen to you when you would go into a club, say? You just found it difficult to approach people, or you just found the whole situation very stressful?
Like, I found it a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, sure. Yep. And it's surprising to me then you've gone into DJing.
Yeah, now he's the Pied Piper in the club, DJing behind the decks.
So what happened along the way there?
Well, I've had a lifelong love of music, and I'm actually old enough to remember you growing up listening to you on Today FM like 20 years ago.
Careful, you're talking about age here.
I'm showing my age here.
Well, that's perfectly fine, yeah.
But I also had a love of like things that sort of spun and rotated, like be it the turntable in the background over there, or car tyres or bicycle wheels, that kind of thing.
Oh, right. So just even attracted to the look of, not only the sound, but the look of the records.
Yeah.
That is cool. That is
Yeah.
a really interesting way to come at it.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the turntable that you have.
Well, at the moment I've got about 3 or 4 different sets at home. I've got a couple of like sets of like DJ ones, and then I've got a couple of like hi-fi ones just for like casual listening.
Oh, well, so you're completely kitted out. And how often do you get to be able to go out and DJ? Have you got a lot of gigs on?
Well, I actually DJ'd my sister's 30th birthday
did you
at the
now?
beginning of last month.
Yeah. And how did that go?
It went great. They loved it.
I was just talking to Tim yesterday, and I was just saying we're going to get him on as one of the Dance for Abilities residents. So every event we have monthly.
Got a residency?
Yeah.
Are you
now it's
kidding
a
me? How
residency.
good is that?
So every monthly event we'll have, Tim will be involved, and he can help us sort of pick and choose some other DJs with disabilities as well, which would be cool.
Yeah, now I've got a little bit of the music that you'll be playing, and then let's have a taste of the music.
Albatross's track.
No, I think this one's called Don't Hold Me Back.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, what's this? Tell me about this before I play it.
Like, it's very much inspired by that kind of big dance sound that's sort of around at the moment, that sort of really slowed down tropical style that's really big at the moment. Like, think of stuff like Kygo, Jonas Blue. I've been listening to that
No
stuff
idea.
lately.
I'm too old. Sorry, Tim.
Don't worry, I wouldn't expect you to know these.
All right, let's have a bit of a listen here. Inspired by that Major Lazer sound. I love it. Oh, yes, I'd be very happy in a crowd dancing to that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're going to love it. They're going to love it.
They are so going to love it. Tell us when the event's on and all the rest, everything we need to know.
So, yeah, look, it's 28th of September this month at Hotel Rabisi's. We've got a capacity of 135, and we're tipping over 100 now. So you have to RSVP online at www.danceforabilities.com.au. And it goes from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. And if you have to have a support worker or a carer with you, it's important that you bring them along with you. But,
and you've also got an idea of expanding this, haven't you, Tim, from just not this one venue. Tell us about that.
So the idea is to try and get as many night spots on board as possible, so we can rotate through a different roster of different clubs and hot spots, because, like you or I would get pretty bored if we went to the same pub every week or every month. So the more variety we can have, the better it'll be. And I imagine, because now we're already at capacity, nearly at capacity, I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger with more exposure. So there'll be a demand for bigger venues, and then the idea is to try and get it into some other cities, and then hopefully globally. So that's the push.
Are you serious? You could have Tim.
And then Tim will have to fly Tim around the world.
You're going to become famous. You're going to be DJing all around the world.
Yeah.
Well,
That'll be you. That'll be
San Antonio.
You'll be in Ibiza.
That's it.
DJ. Fantastic.
well, the single actually comes out the next day. It's out the day after the event.
It's a really good thing. I'm really liking this. How long did it take you to put this one together?
I originally recorded this back in March, but it actually took me 8 years to write this song. But I held it, I'd sort of kept it for around this time, because I felt we were going into autumn when I'd recorded this, and I didn't feel it was an appropriate time to release such a very bright, sunny kind of dance track.
Well, this is the sort of track that you can imagine everyone dancing to, as you say, on the beach this summer. It is really danceable, I reckon, and congratulations, I like it a lot. Rightio, well, let's he's sounding good there, my friend.
Edge of the vocals as well as that.
Yeah, that's my vocal.
That's not bad at all. I'm loving it. Right. Rightio. Where do we go, Jonathan, to register for Dance for Abilities? It's a social event for people with intellectual disabilities.
So it's www.danceforabilities.com.au.
And we should say it's dance, numeral 4.
Numeral 4, and then
Dance4Abilities.com.au.
And if you do, I mean, unfortunately, I imagine there will be some people that will miss out just because of capacity, numbers being, 135. I think it'd be good if you still RSVP, we can have you on the mailing list for the next one so you're in the loop, so you get all the upcoming event details.
Yeah. How does it feel to have your song on the radio?
It feels great.
Well, I hope you get picked up by Today FM.
Well, actually, I hope they can pick up my single and play it. That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be the best?
Or any of the others, because it's designed to appeal to that sector of radio, like the pop audience.
Yeah, you see, I like it. I can't be that old. Thank you both for coming. It was lovely to meet you, Tim Brooks.
All right.
Who wrote that track and is going to be DJing at Dance for Abilities, and Jonathan Hopkirk, who's put it all together. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Wendy.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you both. It is 12 minutes to 11 and coming up, and let's talk to